It's very easy to see somebody pick up a gun and shoot it and say that's violence. But that violence very rarely, if ever, exists in a vacuum. So, what are the larger systemic violences that are taking place, that are occurring, that prompt that kind of violence to exist? What are the larger structural inequities that are causing daily violence in people's lives, that spur them on to commit smaller acts of individual violence? By the response to Luigi, I think it's pretty clear that people have no love for insurance companies. With very good reason. Insurance companies are destroying people's lives every single day. That kind of violence is not as easy to see, as cut and dry, as picking something up and going pew pew. But it's important to remember that the capacities for violence and the histories of violence are very different. A CEO whose entire profit model is based off denying people coverage, making them drown in debt, forcing them not to get life-saving medical care. That kind of violence is far more outsized and far more grotesque than one person picking up a gun. The reason I'm talking about it is because this understanding of violence should not be limited to the insurance companies. I think the American people are most able to understand it within this context because most Americans have in some way, shape, or form been harmed by or know someone who's been harmed by insurance companies and their predatory practices. But this kind of violence, structural, systemic, exists across the world and in various contexts. And I, as a Palestinian, understand it very strongly in the context of colonialism. The violence that occurs in response to systemic violence can never ever hold a flame to that systemic violence. We have to think about origins. Where is this violence coming from? Again, nothing exists in a vacuum.